Hello everyone, I'm Mark. Welcome back to our channel. I know it's been a while since I made a video. I've been busy with a lot of different projects. I've also been working on the Corvette, doing some stuff that I didn't really feel like was worth videotaping. I kind of wish I would have now because some of the issues I ran into, and we'll talk about those today. But this video today is just kind of catch up on what I've been doing and what's been going on. Sorry about that. The first thing I want to talk about is getting parts, getting anything in this country right now. It's ridiculous. You can't get anything. I ordered some parts from Eckler's for my Corvette back in July, and one of the things I ordered was an oil pressure gauge. Well, everything else shipped, got delivered except my oil pressure gauge, and it is still on back order from July. Probably, I don't know, 3 weeks ago maybe, I tried calling Eckler's just to get an update on it after I placed another order with them. And I was on hold with their customer service for over 45 minutes until I had to hang up. I had a prior commitment. I had to go somewhere. I had to hang up. Today, I called them back again today, and I don't know how well this will show up, but as you can see, I've been on hold for 54 minutes and 45 seconds so far, and I'm still on hold. I'm bound and determined to stay on this phone until somebody answers me. I understand how things are right now. Parts are in demand. Supply is really limited. But I don't know of any company that can justify keeping a customer on hold for 55 minutes. I mean, that's a long time, and they should have some way to handle that. At least tell me, hey, you're still waiting another 50 minutes to be answered, or you're number 35 in line or something, so I know if I want to spend another hour on the phone. But anyway, I'm at their mercy. They've got about $400 worth of my money right now because I'm waiting on parts they need to deliver, and I'm not faulting them for that, like I said, but I am faulting them a little bit for putting a customer on hold for almost an hour. So if you are needing to order parts for your Corvette, you really need to look into that. And I'm not just saying Eckler's is the only one doing this. They're the main one I deal with, so I don't know. But I'm assuming overall all companies are going to be hurting for getting parts. So just keep that in mind if you're needing something for your car. You might not get it for a while. So, and I'll keep you posted when I finally do get my parts, or if I ever do get an answer. But anyway, some of the stuff I've been doing on the car, I'll show you on my list. I don't know if you remember when I first got the car, I made up a list on a whiteboard of stuff that I wanted to do on it. So I'm going to show you the list right now and show you what I've got done so far on it. And as you can see on the interior, I wanted to get some trim pieces, the sun visors, I didn't have sun visors, console trim, gauges, T-top headliners, the bags for the T-tops, emergency brake, dome light switches, and hinge springs. And so far I've gotten all that done, except I do have the console trim. I just haven't put it in yet because I can't put my console in because I'm waiting on parts from Eckler's. Can't put my gauges in because I'm waiting on oil pressure gauge. T-top bags I need to order yet, but right now I'm not too worried about that. On the exterior, I still want to buff out the wheels and get them kind of cleaned up. And one of my beauty rings is kind of scuffed up, so I might replace it. On my wipers, I still need to get wiper arms for it, but I fixed the door, replaced all the vacuum lines, replaced the vacuum switch that I bought from Eckler's, and after I got it all done, my my door, when I'd start the car up, the door would automatically open without having the wipers on. And I kept troubleshooting, figuring out what I was doing wrong. Everything was hooked up right, everything was fine. And then I go online and I'm checking it out, and Wilcox Corvette Parts, they had a video showing how to troubleshoot your wipers. So it showed the valve that I bought from, or the switch, the vacuum switch I bought from Eckler's. It said, these are junk, don't buy them. There's one that they offer that's a little bit different style, and they work. So sure enough, I go out and I check my vacuum switch, and it's junk. It doesn't work. It's a brand new switch. It cost me 30 bucks from Eckler's. Doesn't work. And again, I'm not faulting Eckler's. It's they get it from China probably. But it's something, if Wilcox knows the switches are junk, Eckler's probably should be looking at and replaced them with a switch like Wilcox sells. So I actually reordered it from Wilcox, and I'm waiting for that switch to come in. So anyway, just something to keep in mind, just because you buy brand new parts, don't just assume that it's all going to work. You might find out that you do have it hooked up right, you just got a bad part. So always double check that stuff before you put it in. The other thing I want to do is put a passenger side mirror on, which I did that. And then on the engine, I thought I had a bad water pump because I was getting leakage and I couldn't tell where it was coming from. It looked like it was coming from the water pump. Well, come to find out, the fan belt was just rubbing on one of the heater hoses and rubbed a hole in it right underneath the AC compressor, and I couldn't really see it, and I finally figured that out. So I replaced that hose. That took care of that. The water pump's fine. I still need to do something about the AC. It doesn't work. I do want to check the rest of the belts and hoses. Most of the belts look brand new, so I think I'm okay there. The hoses don't look too bad. I did replace a couple of them already on that heater for going to the heater core. I fixed the headlights, replaced all the vacuum lines, replaced the actuators, replaced the relays, the vacuum relays, and those are good to go. I still want to dress up the wiring a little bit, and then I want to get rid of that chrome air cleaner and put a factory air cleaner on it yet, but they're really hard to find. And the hood latch, I wanted to adjust those because they weren't latching right. And I tell you, that turned into a freaking nightmare for me. I took and of course, cheap me, I'm a machinist, so I went ahead and made my own tool for adjusting the latches. It's just a round piece of aluminum with a step down on it. I really didn't understand why it had the step down on it when I first made it, and I made it where it fit. I'll show you here on the car. On these holes here, I made it where when that's pulled down, I made it where it fit pretty good in that big hole. Well, the one that they sell, the reason it's turned down is turned down smaller, so it's closer to the size of that head on that bolt there, the hood latch bolt. And the reason is, if you try to put a bigger piece in there with a hole in the center, it offsets that latch so far that when this opens, the latch will catch on this metal here. And so I lined them up, I thought I had them good, and I shut the hood, and I could not get it open to save my soul. And I fought it and fought it. I thought I was going to break my cables, everything else. And then I finally decided I would take these covers off here, these fins on the side. And on the driver's side, I could actually reach up and grab that lever and pull on it. And I was able to pull on it. It still wouldn't come unlatched. So I had to get up underneath the front end of the car and reach these hood bolts right there, these here right here, and I could just barely reach them because of this sheet metal here. It was down tight against there, and I was able to get them loose enough I could force the hood to go forward so it would pop off those latches, and I was able to get it to pop off the driver's side latch pretty easily, and I could not get it off that passenger side latch to save me. And there was one bolt down there that I couldn't get to because of the way the sheet metal came up, and I was just to the point. I was so frustrated. I worked on it for quite a while. I was just at the point I was about to come up here and just drill a big hole with a hole saw through my hood so I could get to that latch. And I decided to try one more time, and I found a small skinny wrench I had. I was able to get up between this and this piece when the hood's closed, and I was able to get this back bolt loose. Just enough I could force it and pop it off that latch. And I tell you, it's really a sick feeling when you latch it and you can't get open because there's physically no way to get to it. On this side here, even with taking the fin off the outside, with the heater box and everything here, you physically can't even get to this latch. And so I really thought I was going to have to destroy my hood to get it off. And once I got it off, I realized what I did wrong on that piece I made. And let me see if I can find it now. I don't remember where I put it. Anyway, I thought I put it in this drawer here. Oh well. Anyway, it was turned down so that the small diameter would fit in here. You just open it just a little bit and it would hold it in there. And then the big diameter would fit against this and hold the hood up. Well, with it being smaller, it moved your center over a little bit and put it more centered in this diameter so that when you move this latch, this hood pin, it would come up and it would hit centered in this piece, and when this opened, this would come back far enough, it would clear that, and it would open just fine. So I did all that, now it works great. So just a word of warning, if you're going to adjust your hood latches, just be aware of that. And the C3s, if you get above, I think it's 77, they make a emergency hood latch that you can put under the car. I think Exler's, Wilcox, they all sell them, to attach to the cable, so if something would happen, you could still pop the hood open. Well, on these models with the wiper door and hood assembly, they don't have anything like that for it. So just be aware of that. If that cable breaks, especially on the passenger side, it's going to be a challenge to get it open. There is a rubber grommet right down in here that I'm thinking maybe you pop that out and you can run something in, maybe hit that latch, right here on the hood and catch it. I'm thinking that's why that's there. And then on the other side, you can reach that latch. If you take that fin assembly off the side of the fender, you can reach up in there and reach it real easily. So I'm assuming that's what you do if that happens. So anyway, to go over some of the rest of the stuff I was talking about on the car, I got the front end all back together. I waited till I had the headlights all done so that I could get to those easily. So I got all that put back together. I've got the headlights fixed. I don't know if you can see up in here. I got new actuators. I got all new vacuum lines and new relays in there, vacuum relays, and they work great. I'm hoping when I get that vacuum switch from Wilcox, my wiper door will work correctly then. I hooked my tack up. My tack works great. My speedometer, I had a problem with the speedometer. I got it all hooked up. I took it for a little drive, and the speedometer didn't work. So I disconnected from the transmission, and that gear in there was broken off the shaft. So I ordered a new one of those and replaced it, and it works fine now. I went ahead just this morning. I went ahead and I buffed out my T-tops. I don't know if you can see or not. They had some scratching stuff on them, I think, from taking them off, setting them down, and not protecting them when you set them down. And they didn't turn out too bad. I think I videotaped them when I first bought the car and showed it. There was a couple of scratches here and a couple of scratches up in here, and they're pretty much gone now. I did have one spot in the paint, which I don't know if you can see it right here. It was like bird crap got on it and it sat there forever and kind of discolored the clear coat or made it dull. And I kind of wet sanded a little bit and I buffed it, and I can still see it in there a little bit. I don't know how much clear coat's on this car. I'd rather leave it like that than take a chance of cutting through that and have to redo the whole top. So I got that all done. I got the mirror put on this side, and that was a little bit of a challenge. I went off their template. Their template comes with a mirror, and you can see how close I am from here down to the mirror. It's curved right there. I would recommend going maybe another 1/8 inch lower than that from what their template shows, because I had a heck of a time getting this pin in there, and I actually had to leave that bracket loose a little bit, so when I tighten that down, I'd wedge it against the door, and I can still move it a little bit. You can kind of see. So, but with that curve in the door, if you tighten the bracket down that goes on the door and then try to put this pin that goes in this hole here, it won't go in. So just keep that in mind if you have to put a mirror on this side of your car. I had to work on my lights. They weren't working here in the back, especially my brake lights. And I just cleaned the sockets and put some dielectric grease on the balls when I put them back in. They're working fine now. And on the interior, I've got the interior all put back together, got the doors all put back together. But after I put this side of the dash on the driver's side with the gauges and everything, it was a real pain getting in there. The wiring's really tight. You got to force everything up in there, and it's just jammed in there. I discovered now my dome lights are staying on. So I'm thinking I pinched a wire in there for the dome lights. So I'm going to pull this whole assembly back out and see if I can find out where I pinched the wire, and then see if I can reroute those wires a little bit easier to get this back in again, because it's just, anybody that's had one of those out knows it's a real pain to get in and out. And while I had it apart originally, I realized on the odometer, the drive gear on it is stripped out. And at first I was going to change it, but to do that, you can't buy the gear. You have to either send your speedometer in to a company and have them rebuild it, or you can buy an aftermarket speedometer. Well, an aftermarket speedometer is like $269 or something like that, and to get it rebuilt, it's about $200. And I thought, well, you know, mileage on these old cars really doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't mean anything as far as I'm concerned. If you're building a, you know, class A car, you know, state of the art, you know, restore back to original, I would understand it. But on a car like this, no. But I'm thinking if I have to pull this back out again, I might go ahead and just buy a reproduction speedometer. My only concern is I don't want to wait a year to get it, so I'm gonna have to be getting some parts before I start ordering any more parts before I decide to do that, because I want to get the car together where I can drive it. I have driven it a couple times, but as you can see, it's a cluster here, and so I don't have a fuel gauge, I don't have a temperature gauge, oil pressure gauge, or amp gauge. So I let it run for a little while sitting here in my garage, and checked it with temperature gauge, made sure it wasn't overheating. I made sure I had oil pressure, and I can check my oil pressure because I broke the needle on my oil pressure gauge when I was cleaning them, and that's why I had to order a new one. The oil pressure gauge still works, so I went and hooked it back up. It's under the hood because I pulled the plastic oil pressure wire line out, so I got it zip tied under the hood, and so I can see that it goes up. It holds like 35 psi when it's sitting idling, which is pretty good. So I wasn't worried about my oil pressure, and my temperature, I never did get above like 185, so I wasn't worried about overheating. And I put a couple gallons of gas in the tank just to make sure I wouldn't run out of gas. I just drove it, you know, about a mile down the road and a mile back. So anyway, that's what I've done so far. I've got most of the car done, ready to go. It's just waiting on parts for the center dash, and I want to pull this back out and figure out why my dome lights are staying on now, because I replaced all the dome switches in the door and everything, so it should be working, and it's working fine until I put that dash back together. So that's what I'm thinking happened. But anyway, that's kind of the stuff I've been doing here lately. The other thing, this week Diane's getting ready for a garage sale stuff. When we bought this property, the owner left a lot of stuff here, a lot of decorations. I mean, they really decorate up their yard and everything. So she's got a big, my carport is just full of stuff right now. She planned on doing that this weekend. And we haven't talked about it too much, and I'm going to let Diane, maybe if she wants to talk about it a little bit, but the last couple of months, we've been dealing with a medical situation with her. And I told her, I said, you really need to make a video about that, because the experiences she went through, and you know, just what she mentally and physically went through the last couple months, I think it'd be good to share that with everyone. So if anyone is going through the same situation, they'll kind of get an understanding of what to expect, and you know, what she went through. So I'm going to talk to her about maybe sitting down and just talking and doing a quick video on that. But anyway, we've been tied up with that for a couple of months. We've actually been off work for the whole month of September because of that. So we're getting ready to go back to work. I think the 4th of October we'll be back to work. But anyway, I appreciate your patience with us and understanding. And I'm still on hold with Eckler's, and it's 1 hour and 12 minutes. So while I've been talking, doing this video, I've been on hold, and I'm still on hold. And I'll let you know in the next video. I'm not going to keep you guys here all day till they answer, but I will let you know on my next video how long it took for them to answer, or if my battery ran out and they never did answer me. So as always, if you enjoy the videos, please hit the subscribe and like and share them with a friend, and I'll see you on the next video. Oh, and by the way, I want to give a big shout out to my sister Julia. She watches our videos, and she encourages us to keep making them. So hi Julia, I hope you guys can get down here someday and visit with us, and if not, we'll be up to see you up in Illinois. Have a great day.